tikulandireni pano pa Parliament Broadcasting lero lachiwiri pa 4 August 2026. Dzina langa ndi Rachel Gonani. Tikupitiriza kupatsirani tsatane wa zokambirana za phungu zomwe ndi zachitatu mu mkumano wa namba 52 wa nyumba ya malamulo, ndipo aphungu akuyembekezeka kumaliza zokambirana zawo lachisanu pa 7 August 2026. Ndondomeko yoyendetsera zokambirana za aphungu nyumba ya malamulo lero ikusonyeza kuti aphungu ayamba zokambirana zawo pofunsa mafunso kupita ku maunduna osiyanasiyana, ndipo ena mwa maunduna omwe akuyembekezeka kuyankha mafunsowa ndi unduna owona za migodi, unduna owona za maphunziro komanso unduna owona za umoyo ndi ukhondo. Tikuyembekezanso kuti aphungu amadera a Mwanza Central komanso Lilongwe Msinja South afunsa mafunso ku unduna owona za ntchito ndi unduna owona za ulimi motsogozedwa ndi gawo 69 la malamulo oyendetsera zokambirana za aphungu a nyumba ya malamulo. Ndondomeko ikusonyezanso kuti phungu wa dera la Lilongwe Msinja South abweretsa mnyumbayi nkhani yofunika ku dziko motsogozedwa ndi gawo 14 la malamulo oyendetsera zokambirana za aphungu. Tikuyembekezanso kuti nduna zingapo zipereka mayankho amalipoti amakomiti a nyumba ya malamulo, pamene makomiti ena akuyembekezeka kupereka malipoti awo lero. Nyumbayi ikuyembekezanso kumva malipoti kuchokera kwa nthumwi zomwe zinayimirira nyumbayi pa ntchito zosiyanasiyana ku mayiko akunja. Kumbali ya boma, nduna yoona za mayendedwe ndi ntchito za boma ikuyembekezeka kupereka report lochokera ku ndunawo, ndipo aphungu akuyembekezekanso kukambirana mabilu osiyanasiyana. If you are just joining us, welcome to Parliament Broadcasting. Today, Tuesday, the 4th of August, 2026, and we continue with our live broadcast of the third meeting in the 52nd session of Parliament. A reminder that the House is expected to rise this coming Friday on 7th August 2026 after 5 weeks of deliberations. Let us take a quick look at today's expected business in the House according to the order paper, where under general business, the order paper indicates that the House will commence its business with questions on notice to ministers for oral replies, and some of the ministries that are expected to take these questions are the Ministry of Mining, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, as well as the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. Honorable members representing Mwanza Central constituency and Lilongwe Msinja South constituency are expected to ask questions to the Minister of Labour, Skills and Innovation, as well as the Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development. These are questions under Standing Order 69. The order paper also indicates that the honorable member from Lilongwe Msinja South will raise a matter of urgent public importance under Standing Order 14. The House is also expected to tackle responses to committee reports, a presentation of committee reports, as well as presentation of delegation reports. Under government business, the honorable member, the Honorable Minister of Transport and Public Works is expected to present a ministerial statement. The order paper indicates as well a number of bills that the House is set to tackle. We now cross over to the chamber for today's deliberations. My name is Rachel Gonani. Stay tuned.
Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness has appointed the office of rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we ask you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberations in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and the welfare of this country and of those whose interest we've committed to our church. Amen.
General business, communication from the chair.
Good morning, honor members and the leadership. It's good to see you this morning. And as we start a beautiful Tuesday morning, a government business day, let us all fall through to the business in the house and adhere to the rules of this house. Honor members, just to reiterate and repeat what the Right Honorable Speaker has always announced, that this House and the country at large will be hosting the African Commons Parliamentary Summit starting next week on the 9th. It is an invitation to all of us to participate, and as we wish this House and the leadership of the Right Honorable Speaker as he has this important conference, we continue to appeal to those who would like to partner with Parliament, to those who would like to support the activities of the CPA. Please do so. And as we continue to recognize all that have supported before us, those that are planning to support, please join the Right Honorable Speaker in this House and Malawi at large to support the activities of the CPA Africa Region Summit. Thank you very much, honor members, and good morning. Leader, I see you.
Good morning, First Deputy Speaker and the entire House. Indeed, a bright Tuesday morning. Welcome. Yesterday, I did a guide that we would dedicate the day today to government business, particularly bills. So we'll start disposing of some of the bills, and it's my hope that today we could do quite a number of them. They're not very complicated bills, small amendments here and there, so they shouldn't take us too long. So that's how we'll proceed today, Mr. Speaker, sir. I thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Leader, in that case, we will need a motion from your office, sir. Thank you.
Indeed, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the order paper be varied in order for us to tackle government business. B, bills. I beg to move.
Thank you very much, honor members. We have a motion on the floor from the leader of the House. The motion is to vary the order paper for us to concentrate on government business B bills. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. Table.
Government Business 3B, Bills. First reading, Bill number 9 of 2026, Banking Amendment.
Honourable Minister of Finance, as you see, the bill has satisfied the 7-day notice. Before we even start processing it, would need a waiver from your office on the 28-day notice. So, Honourable Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. First Deputy Speaker. As I've said, I beg to move that all the relevant standing orders be waived to allow me to present Bill number 9 of 2026, the Banking Amendment Bill 2026. The bill has not satisfied the 28-day rule, but it has managed to achieve the 7-day minimum requirement. So I beg to move that all the relevant standing orders be waived so that I present, given the importance of this bill, because the bill before us is protecting ordinary Malawians, depositors in the banks. It also safeguards the stability of the financial system. I beg to move.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister of Finance. Honourable members, we have a motion on the floor. The motion is to waive the 28-day notice for the bill, for bill number 9 of 2026, banking, to be presented now. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried.
Second reading, Bill number 9 of 2026, Banking Amendment.
Honourable Minister, second reading when?
Mr. First Deputy Speaker, today and now.
Honourable members, we have a motion. The motion is to allow second reading of the bill be taken today and now. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. Honourable Minister, for the second reading statement.
Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the Banking Amendment Bill 2026 be now read for the second time. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, this bill is a product of a review process that began in 2013 when government, with technical support from the International Monetary Fund, undertook to examine the adequacy of our legal framework for dealing with problem banks. That review and the experience gained since exposed a simple but serious weakness. Our processes for resolving failing banks remain largely court-based, is slow, and is ill-suited to the unique nature of banking, where a loss of a public confidence can spread quickly and threaten the stability of the entire financial system. It is on the strength of that finding, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, that government brings this bill to amend the Banking Act. The bill closes the gaps in the legal framework to align it with the international standards on bank resolutions and also the anti-money laundering. Importantly, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, this bill takes into account the concerns that this August House raised when the bill was previously tabled in this August in 2022. I will return to those concerns in detail shortly and set out precisely how each of them has been addressed. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the bill pursues 6 principal objectives, and these are: A, to strengthen the legal framework for early intervention and resolution of banks; B, to broaden the range of resolution tools available to the registrar; C, to facilitate the timely and orderly resolution of failing banks; D, strengthen governance and ownership requirements for banks; E, to improve transparency in banking ownership structures; and F, to align the Banking Act with the Public Financial Management Act in respect of management of unclaimed funds. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, banks are not like ordinary business. They are highly vulnerable to loss of confidence and contagion. The failure of one bank can quickly undermine confidence in others. It is therefore in the public interest, and not merely a private commercial matter, that a bank in distress be dealt with promptly, transparently, and effectively. The current framework does not allow for this. Liquidation of a failed bank proceeds through ordinary court-based insolvency process designed for companies in general, a process that is slow and can delay the very outcome depositors need most: the prompt return of their money, and this bill addresses that gap directly. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, allow me to take this August House through the principal features of the bill, which contains 32 sections. A is for beneficial ownership transparency. The bill introduces a new section, Section 6A, requiring anybody, corporate, or a nominee shareholder holding shares in a bank to disclose to the Registrar of Financial Institutions the particulars of the ultimate beneficial owner of those shares, and empowering the Registrar to conduct physical due diligence on shareholders, including beneficial owners, when assessing fitness and propriety. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, experience across the world has shown that unsuitable persons can conceal their true interests in a regulated institution behind nominees or complex corporate structures. This provision closes the gap and aligns with international anti-money laundering standards. B, regulation of controlling shareholders. Section 6 is replaced to require the registrar's prior written approval before any person becomes a controlling shareholder of a bank or increases an existing share ownership interest, and to restrict a controlling shareholder from controlling more than one bank without approval. because banks hold public deposits and play a systemic role in the economy. Those who exercise significant influence over them must first be shown to be suitable and financially sound. C, removal of shareholders who cease to be fit and proper. New section 6B and 6C empower the Registrar of Financial Institutions to remove a shareholder who ceases to meet fit and proper requirements, whether through misconduct, criminal conduct, insolvency, or other cause. Fitness and propriety, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, cannot be a test applied only once at the point of acquisition. It must be applied throughout a person's tenure as an owner of a bank. D, enhanced enforcement powers. Section 26, it is comprehensively revised to give the Registrar of Financial Institutions a graduated toolkit for addressing unsafe, unsound, or unlawful conduct before it threatens a bank's viability, including cease and desist orders, corrective measures, restriction on operations, removal of directors and officers, restitution orders, suspension of voting rights and dividends, statutory management, and, as a last resort, revocation of a license and appointment of a liquidator. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the present framework does not allow for this kind of early graduated response. Problems are too often left to fester until they become far costlier and harder to fix. E, expanded statutory management and resolution tools. Section 27 to 27H are significantly enhanced to equip statutory manager with modern resolution tools recognized internationally, including the capitalization powers, the establishment of a bridge banks to preserve critical banking services, bad banks or asset management companies to take on non-performing assets or purchase and assumption of transaction, and the restructuring of liabilities through reduction, modification, rescheduling, or novation. These tools give the registrar real alternatives to outright liquidation, preserving value and minimizing disruption to depositors and the wider financial system. A specialized bank liquidation regime. This bill replaces the current general company law model of winding up with a liquidation regime designed specifically for banks. Under the new regime, banks may only be wound up voluntarily or compulsorily under the Banking Act itself. Creditors may no longer petition the courts for a bank's winding up, and the registrar may appoint a liquidator immediately upon the revocation of a bank license. Mr. Speaker, this is the heart of the bill. It recognizes that a bank, as a custodian of public deposits, cannot be wound up on the same timeline and through the courts as an ordinary trading company. Unclaimed money. Section 36 and 40 are amended so that all unclaimed money held by banks and unclaimed funds remaining after liquidation are administered in line with the Public Finance Management Act, removing an inconsistency in our financial services laws. H, prohibition of customers from accessing banking services. A new section 51A allows a bank to prohibit a person from accessing bank services where that person has engaged in banking malpractice, poses undue legal, financial, and operational and reputational risk, has supplied false information, or where prohibition is necessary to protect the integrity of the banking system. Such a prohibition may apply across all banks in Malawi and for a period of up to 7 years. Mr. Speaker, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I stress that this power is not unchecked. The affected person must be given notice and an opportunity to be heard, and has the right of appeal to the Registrar of Financial Institutions. This provision responds directly to the rise in the cases of fraud and abuse we have seen involving on debit cards and also similar instruments. 5. How previous parliamentary concerns have been addressed. You may recall, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, that this bill was presented in this August House, and there were concerns. Let me now turn to a matter I know is of particular interest to this August House. The concerns honourable members raised in 2022, when this bill was last brought before this House. I want to assure this August House that each of those concerns has been carefully considered and addressed in the bill now before you. First, members were concerned with the requirement for the regular approval of persons acquiring control of a bank indirectly or in concert with another person, a formulation seen as too broad and uncertain. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, that language has now been removed. The bill now retains only the requirement for approval of persons becoming controlling shareholders directly without the broader and more uncertain indirect or in concert test. Second, members raised concerns about provision allowing intrusive examination of beneficial owners. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, that provision has also been restructured. The bill now provides for physical due diligence, confirming identity, presence, documentation like standard KYC and anti-money laundering practice on shareholders as part of the ordinary fit and proper assessment, rather than a separate and open-ended power to examine beneficial owners. The other concern, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, was that a shareholder could be removed from a bank without being given a fair hearing. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the bill now expressly requires a Registrar of Financial Institutions to give the shareholder an opportunity to be heard before any decision to remove them is made. Fourthly, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, honourable members also objected to the suspension of a removed shareholder's dividend rights. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, that restriction has now been removed entirely. Under the current bill, a removed shareholder would continue to receive dividends declared until such time as their shares are sold. Only the voting rights of such shareholder are suspended. Fifth, and perhaps the most significant one, members objected to provisions that would have allowed enforcement action against persons who had merely been charged with an offence or who had, in fact, been acquitted by the courts. Mr. Speaker, sir, I can confirm that both of those provisions have been removed from the bill altogether. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I trust this House will agree that government has engaged in good faith with concerns previously raised, and that the bill now before you reflects a fair, balanced, between strengthening the registrar's supervisory powers and also protecting the legitimate rights of bank shareholders. Expected impact. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the amendments before this House are expected to make the resolution of approving banks faster, more efficient, transparently, and less costly. By enabling the Registrar of Financial Institutions to act administratively rather than through protracted court proceedings, the bill now allows for timely intervention that better protects depositors and preserves financial stability. More broadly, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, a credible resolution framework strengthens confidence in the banking system as a whole. Depositors, investors, and development partners need to know that Malawi has the tools to deal decisively with a failing bank before the troubles spread. And this bill gives us those tools. In conclusion, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the amendments contained in this bill are about protecting ordinary Malawian depositors, safeguarding the stability of the financial system, and ensuring that when a bank does fail, it is dealt with swiftly, fairly, and in a manner that limits harm to the wider economy. They also reflect a bill that has been strengthened by this House's own scrutiny. The concerns honourable members raised in 2022, which have also shaped this bill to make it a better, fairer, and a fairer piece of legislation. I therefore submit the Banking Amendment Bill 2026 to this August House, and I would like to urge honourable members to support this bill. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for that statement on the bill number 9. Honourable members, if you follow our own procedures, at this level, the bill is being referred to political party spokespersons. I will recognize the honourable member for Dowampuzu constituency to speak on behalf of the Malawi Congress Party. Dowampuzu, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I rise on behalf of the mighty Malawi Congress Party to respond to the Banking Amendment Bill 2026, following the able presentation of the Honourable Minister of Finance and Decentralization. Mr. Speaker, let me start by thanking our 6th former President, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, for entrusting me with the opportunity to stand before this House and respond to this critical bill. From the onset, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, let me state our position. We, MCP, do not oppose the intention of this bill. This is a bill that is protecting depositors and modernizing bank resolution. This has been a bill that has been long overdue. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, for too long, our banking law has been stuck in 1989. The world has moved on to digital banking, to risk-based supervision, to early intervention. This is our time as Malawi to move to. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, we support the proposed Section 32. For the first time, we have a clear order of payments. Deposits are prioritized. Partial distributions are allowed. This means to a teacher, a nurse, a vendor, who will not have to wait for 5 years in court to get their 100% of their savings when a bank fails or when there's any challenge. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, we also support the proposed Section 30E, the power to reverse fraudulent transfers done before a bank transfers. We all know what has happened in the past. Assets were stripped, directors walked away, and the poor depositor was left with nothing. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, we also support Section 30, the introduction of bridge banks, bad banks, and bail-in tools that the minister just outlined. These are modern tools used in the US, UK, Kenya, and South Africa. They allow RBM to resolve a failing bank over a weekend without shutting down the whole economy. This is the best practice, and aligning Malawi to this is commendable. Mr. Speaker, First Deputy Speaker, we cannot debate this bill without mentioning Finance Bank 2018 case. That case is our textbook. It exposed the very weaknesses in the systems that the minister outlined and would want to bring to consistency. There were no depositor priorities, no quick resolutions, there was no transparency. Depositors suffered while lawyers argued over years, and assets lost value. In this bill, First Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Minister and the government has responded and covered the shortfalls that brought us to the Finance Bank case. Deposits are now prioritized, fraudulent assets can be clawed back, RBM now has resolution powers. But Mr. First Deputy Speaker, Finance Bank also taught us a lesson about trust. Then decisions were made in secret, with no public scrutiny, no explanation, and no appeal. This bill has tackled all those gaps. However, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, our support would not just go without us mentioning a few concerns. We have raised three concerns that we ask government to address. Concern number one is about the depositor protection on paper versus reality. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, Section 32 says deposits come third in the order of payment. But Mr. Speaker, the bill does not define deposits. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, is a corporate deposit of 500 million from a construction company treated the same as Agogo's 50,000 savings account in the village? Are payroll accounts treated the same as fixed deposits? Are foreign currency deposits covered the same as kwacha deposits? Mr. First Deputy Speaker, without a definition, we are inviting litigation, and the litigation is what killed depositors in Finance Bank. It is our hope that this will be covered in the recommended guidelines which the Minister and the committees has raised in their reports. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the second point is about payouts on Section 30D. It gives 45 days for claims and 90 days. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, for a poor household that depends on that money for food and for school fees, for medicine, 90 days is a lifetime. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, in Kenya, the deposit insurance pays small savers within 7 days. In Nigeria, it is 20 days. Why can't Malawi commit to 14 days or an agreeable days that will relieve a small saver? Concern number 2, there's too much power given to RBM, but with too little oversight from Parliament. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, this bill gives the registrar enormous powers that can build the system or break it. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, Section 30 talks about power to force a bank to adopt a risk framework designed by RBM. That is good for stability, but it is also power to micromanage every bank in Malawi. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, we remember in 2020 when RBM directives were used to close the bank accounts arbitrarily, without court order and without explanations. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, we are not saying RBM is bad. We are saying power without checks is dangerous. Let the minister ensure that we have the checks and balances as per the recommendations from the committee. Concern number 3, transparency and public money. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, Section 2729 says unclaimed money goes to government under the PFMA. We agree with the principle. Money cannot sit idle in banks forever. But, Mr. Speaker, will this money be ring-fenced for financial literacy and deposit education? Or will it just disappear into consolidated fund and be used for fuel allowances? Mr. First Deputy Speaker, we are asking, create a public register. Publish names and amounts every quarter so that a widow in Dedza can claim her husband's unclaimed shares. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the bill allows a creation of bridge banks and asset sales under Section 30. These are multi-billion kwacha decisions. Mr. Speaker, who decides which assets are sold? To whom? And at what price? Mr. First Deputy Speaker, we remember how public assets were sold in the past. In secret, to friends, at 10% of value. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, public money must have public accountability. We propose every asset sale above 100 million kwacha must be published and done through an open tender. In conclusion, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the Might Malawi Congress Party supports this Banking Amendment Bill 2026. We support it because depositors must come first. We support it because Malawi needs modern resolution tools. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, let us pass a law that protects both the financial system and the Malawian citizen. Let us make the banking faster, but also fair and transparent. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, modernization without inclusion is exclusion. Reform without accountability is abuse. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, with these few words, Malawi Congress Party supports the bill. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Honourable members, just to guide the House, the member speaking was a spokesperson, so I could not entertain any disruptions. Honourable member for Lilongwe Likuni, I hope you are following the debate on the floor. But I hope you are following the debate on the floor. It is a very important bill, and let's all follow and listen so that the processes of the bill continues. I've just realized that our friends in the UTM are still short by one member to qualify to present a spokesperson, but I still use my discretion. I pray the next elections, a by-election anywhere, UTM needs to camp there to secure that one member. So you qualify for a place in the business committee and the spokesperson. But for now, I'll recognize you on my discretion. So UDF and PP, please be ready for the next bills. You might be recognized also to air your views. Thank you very much. UTM?
Thank you very much, Second Deputy Speaker, First Deputy Speaker, for your consideration. Indeed, UTM would want to respond to Bill number 9, because it is indeed a very important bill. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, let me state that I support the objectives of this bill, because a stable banking sector is the backbone of every economy. Banks safeguard the savings of our people, facilitate investment, support businesses, and maintain confidence in our financial system. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, banks safeguard the savings of our people, facilitate investment, support businesses, and maintain confidence in our financial system. Therefore, strengthening the legal framework for dealing with distressed banks is both necessary and timely. The Constitution of the Republic of Malawi, First Deputy Speaker, under Section 13, places an obligation on the state to promote the welfare and the economic development of Malawians. A strong and stable financial sector is therefore consistent with our constitutional responsibility to create conditions that support economic growth and protect citizens' livelihood. The introduction of modern bank resolution, such as bridge banks, asset management companies, mandatory recapitalization, purchase and assumption transactions, and enhanced statutory management reflect international best practice. These reforms have the potential to minimize disruption to the economy and better protect depositors when a bank encounters serious financial difficulties. However, while we support the principles of the bill, I believe there are several areas that still deserve careful consideration by the Minister. First, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the bill grants enormous powers to the registrar. The registrar is empowered to suspend shareholders' rights, remove directors, restructure liabilities, compel sale of shares, establish bridge banks, appoint statutory managers, appoint liquidators, and revoke banking licenses. These are extraordinary powers, Mr. First Deputy Speaker. While swift action is sometimes necessary to preserve financial stability, such extensive powers should be accompanied by equally strong safeguards against abuse. The Constitution under Section 12 establishes that all institutions that persons exercising public powers must do so in accordance with constitutional values, including accountability, transparency, and good governance. Concentrating so much authority in one office, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, without sufficient oversight may undermine these constitutional principles. I therefore propose that significant decisions, particularly those involving compulsory transfers of ownership or the creation of bridge banks, should be accompanied by clear reporting requirements to Parliament through the responsible minister. Secondly, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, I'm concerned about the protection of shareholders' rights. The bill allows shareholders to be removed where they cease to satisfy fit and proper requirements, and further requires them to dispose of their shares within prescribed periods. While this may be justified where financial stability is at risk, shareholders also enjoy constitutional protection to protect to property rights. Section 28 of the Constitution provides that every person shall be able to acquire property alone or in association with others, that no person shall be arbitrarily deprived of that property. Therefore, any compulsory transfer, forced disposal, or interference with ownership rights must be based on a clear legal procedures, fair evaluation, and proper justification. The law should guarantee fair evaluation of shares, written reasons for decisions, transparent procedures, and an effective right of appeal before irreversible action is taken. Financial stability, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, and constitutional rights should be complement each other rather than compete. Thirdly, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I wish to raise the issue of legal consistency. The bill provides that where there is an inconsistency between Banks Act and Companies Act or the Financial Services Act, the Banking Act shall prevail. It further overrides shareholder agreements and company articles in certain circumstances. Although special treatment for banks may be justified because of systematic risk, Parliament should avoid creating unnecessary conflicts between statutes. The Constitution under Section 5 provides that any law inconsistent with the Constitution is invalid. Therefore, while Parliament has the authority to create special regulatory frameworks, those frameworks must still operate within the constitutional boundaries and respect fundamental rights. The supremacy clause should therefore be limited only to matters strictly necessary for protecting depositors and maintaining financial stability. Hence, the need for clear guidelines for implementation. Fourthly, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, depositors deserve a stronger protection. Throughout the bill, we see extensive provisions dealing with regulatory intervention, liquidation, and restructuring. However, ordinary depositors are likely to ask simple question, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, when will I get access to my money? The Constitution under Section 13 requires the state to provide, to actively promote the welfare and economic security of Malawians. Protecting depositors is therefore not merely a banking issue, it is a matter of public interest. The bill should provide clear timelines for payment of insured deposits and require prompt public communication whenever a bank is placed under statutory management or liquidation. Confidence in the banking system depends not only on regulations, but also on public certainty. Fifthly, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the bill introduces bridge banks and asset management companies. These are important tools for managing failing banks. However, the bill does not sufficiently explain how these institutions will be funded, how assets will be valued, who will oversee them, or what protection exists against abuse. Whenever public resources may be exposed, Parliament must insist on transparency, independent valuation, and regular external audits. This is consistent with the constitutional principle under Section 12 that public authorities must exercise power in a manner that promotes accountability and responsible governance. Sixthly and lastly, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the bill strengthens restriction on insider lending. This is one of the strongest provisions, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, in this bill and deserves support. Malawi has experienced a situation where weak governance and related party lending have contributed to financial instability. However, these provisions can be strengthened further by requiring regular disclosure of insider lending to the registrar and ensuring that directors approving unlawful transactions are held personally accountable.
Consider winding up.
Finally, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, the right to appeal should be strengthened. The bill allows only 7 days to request a review of enforcement decisions. Considering the complexity of the banking regulations and financial implications involved, 7 days may not be sufficient for affected parties to prepare a meaningful purpose. The Constitution under Section 41 guarantees every person the right to access justice and to have legal remedies where their rights are affected. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, extending this period will promote fairness and constitutional protection without compromising the need for prompt regulatory intervention. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, this bill is necessary and UTM supports this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will therefore recognize the chairperson of the Budget Committee to present their report. Chairperson, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker. Permission that I present from this seat, because there are quite a number of bills, so to save time, I don't know if that's allowed.
Yeah, Chairperson, you can indeed use your seat and your gadget to present the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker. It is with great honor and privilege that I rise this morning to present to this August House the report of the Joint Parliamentary Committees on Legal Affairs and Budget upon considering and scrutinizing Bill number 9 of 2026, the Banking Amendment. The report before this House is the outcome of the Joint Committee's careful examination of the proposed amendments to the Banking Act, Chapter 4401, following extensive engagements with the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization and the Reserve Bank of Malawi. The committee's deliberations were guided by the need to ensure that the proposed legislation adequately strengthens Malawi's banking regulatory framework while safeguarding the interests of depositors, shareholders, financial institutions, and the economy at large. And on behalf of the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Legal Affairs and Budget, Deputy Speaker, allow me to sincerely thank you for according me this opportunity to present the committee's report. I also wish to extend the committee's profound appreciation to the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament for facilitating the joint committee's work and to acknowledge the invariable cooperation rendered by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization, their officials, and the Reserve Bank of Malawi, whose technical presentations greatly assisted the committees in appreciating the policy rationale and legal implications of the proposed amendments. The committee is equally grateful to the Office of the Clerk of Parliament and the Secretariat for the legal, procedural research and administrative support that enabled the committee to effectively discharge its legislative mandate. Background to Bill number 9 of 2026, the Banking Amendment. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, the banking sector plays a pivotal role in supporting economic growth, facilitating investment, and safeguarding public confidence in the financial system. A sound and resilient banking sector is indispensable to national development because it provides the foundation upon which business operates, investments are mobilized, and citizens securely save their hard-earned resources. It is therefore imperative that the country's legal and regulatory framework evolves in tandem with emerging financial risks and international best practices. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, the committee learned that Bill 9 of 2026, the Banking Amendment, seeks to amend the Banking Act in order to strengthen the legal framework governing banking supervision, early intervention, bank resolution, and liquidation. The proposed amendments are intended to modernize Malawi's banking laws by equipping the Registrar of Financial Institutions with enhanced supervisory and intervention powers that can be exercised before financially distressed institutions deteriorate into insolvency. The committee was informed that the existing Banking Act does not adequately provide for modern banking resolution mechanisms capable of addressing emerging risks in the financial sector. Thereby, exposing depositors' funds and financial stability to unnecessary risks whenever banking institutions encounter financial distress. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, the committee further learned that the bill seeks to align Malawi's banking legislation with internationally recognized standards governing bank resolution, and financial sector resilience. In this regard, the bill introduces a comprehensive legal framework that provides for mandatory recapitalization of distressed banks, purchase and assumption transactions, bridge banks, asset management companies, bail-in arrangements, strengthened ownership requirements, and improved liquidation procedures. Collectively, these reforms are intended to strengthen depositor protection, preserve financial stability, and enhance public confidence in Malawi's banking sector. The committee's methodology. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, in discharging its legislative responsibility, the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Legal Affairs and Budget adopted a systematic approach in scrutinizing the proposed bill. The committee first received comprehensive policy briefings from the Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization, together with technical officials from the Reserve Bank of Malawi. These engagements enabled members to appreciate the policy objectives underlying the proposed amendments, the shortcomings in the existing legal framework, and the need to introduce internationally recognized bank resolution mechanisms capable of responding promptly to financial distress within the banking sector. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, following these policy presentations, the committee undertook a detailed clause-by-clause scrutiny of the bill. And during this exercise, every proposed amendment was examined against the provisions of the Principal Act with particular attention to its legal, regulatory, and policy implications. The committee further assessed whether the proposed amendments were consistent with international banking standards and whether they would effectively strengthen financial stability, depositor protection, corporate governance, and supervision of banking institutions in Malawi. This rigorous scrutiny enabled the committee to fully appreciate the significance of the proposed reforms before arriving at its observations and recommendations. Purpose of the bill. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, the committee was informed that the principal objective of Bill 9 of 2026 is to modernize the Banking Act by strengthening the legal framework governing banking supervision, early intervention, bank resolution, and liquidation. The bill seeks to enhance the powers of the Registrar of Financial Institutions so that regulatory authorities are able to respond promptly whenever banking institutions begin experiencing financial distress. And in doing so, the bill seeks to safeguard depositors' funds, preserve financial stability, and promote sustained public confidence in the banking sector. And Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, the committee further learned that the proposed amendments seek to move Malawi's banking regulatory framework away from the traditional reactive approach, where intervention ordinarily occurs after banking institutions or a banking institution has entered severe financial difficulty, towards a proactive regulatory system that enables intervention before financial distress becomes irreversible. Your committee, therefore, was persuaded that this shift represents a significant policy reform because early intervention minimizes the risk of bank failures, whilst reducing the potential financial burden that such failures may impose on depositors, investors, and the economy as a whole. Salient provisions of the bill. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, allow me now to highlight some of the key provisions contained in the proposed legislation. The committee noted that clause number 2 amends the interpretation section of the Principal Act by introducing new definitions and updating existing terminology to accommodate the new bank resolution mechanisms established under this bill. The committee observed that these amendments are essential for promoting legal clarity and ensuring consistency throughout legislation. Deputy Speaker, clause number 3 amends provisions relating to the administration of the Act and strengthens the regulatory powers of the Registrar of Financial Institutions. And your committee noted that these amendments expand the supervisory mandate of the registrar and align the administration of the Act with a broader bank resolution framework introduced in the bill. And similarly, clause number 4 replaces existing provisions governing ownership and licensing requirements by strengthening beneficial ownership disclosure and enhancing transparency in the ownership structure of banking institutions. The committee believes that these reforms will improve corporate governance and strengthen regulatory oversight within the banking sector. And Deputy Speaker, the committee further noted that clause number 5 inserts new sections, section 6A to section 6C, to regulate ownership control, acquisition of shares, and disclosure obligations relating to the banking institutions. And these provisions are intended to ensure that persons exercising control over banks satisfy prescribed regulatory requirements whilst maintaining transparent ownership structures that are subject to effective regulatory oversight. The committee further noted that clause 6 repeals obsolete provisions of the Principal Act in order to facilitate the implementation of the modern regulatory framework established under this bill. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, the committee also observed that clause 7 to 15 introduced various amendments relating to licensing, prudential regulation, supervisory powers, corporate governance, enforcement measures, and administrative procedures. Collectively, these provisions strengthen the supervisory authority of the Registrar of Financial Institutions by enabling earlier regulatory intervention before banking institutions experience severe financial distress. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, perhaps the most significant reforms contained in the bill are found under clause 16, which inserts new sections 27A to 27H, establishing a comprehensive bank resolution framework. The committee learned that these provisions empower the registrar to require mandatory recapitalization of distressed banks, facilitate purchase and assumption transactions, establish bridge banks, authorize the creation of asset management companies, and implement bail-in arrangements where necessary. And these internationally recognized mechanisms are designed to preserve essential banking services, protect depositors, minimize systematic risks, and reduce reliance on taxpayer-funded bailouts whenever banking institutions encounter financial distress. Deputy Speaker, the committee further observed that clauses 17 to 24 strengthened the statutory management and banking resolution framework by expanding the intervention powers available to the registrar before the banking institution is placed under statutory management. And the committee also noted that clauses 25 to 31 repeal outdated provisions and harmonize the Banking Act with the new regulatory architecture, whilst clause number 32 introduces a new section 51A, conferring additional regulatory powers necessary to fully implement the revised banking resolution framework. The committee's observations. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, having carefully scrutinized Bill number 9 of 2026, your committee was satisfied that the proposed amendments represent a significant step towards strengthening the resilience and stability of the Malawi banking sector. The committee welcomed the proposed reforms, observing that they considerably strengthen the country's legal framework for responding to financial distress within banking institutions. By introducing modern bank resolution mechanisms and expanding the supervisory powers of the Registrar of Financial Institutions, the bill will enable regulatory authorities to intervene at an earlier stage before financial difficulties escalate into full-scale banking crisis. Deputy Speaker, sir, this proactive approach will significantly minimize the risk of bank failures, preserve public confidence in our banking sector, and contribute to overall macroeconomic stability. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, One of the most commendable aspects of this bill is its deliberate focus on protecting depositors. The committee noted with satisfaction that introduction of mechanisms such as purchase and assumption transactions, bridge banks, and mandatory recapitalization reflects a shift from merely rescuing distressed financial institutions to safeguarding the interests of ordinary Malawians whose savings are entrusted to the banks. Your committee firmly believes that confidence in the banking sector depends largely on the assurance that depositors' funds remain protected even during periods of financial distress. And consequently, these reforms will greatly strengthen public confidence whilst ensuring scrutiny of essential banking services whenever financial institutions encounter operational challenges. And Deputy Speaker, whilst your committee fully supports the expansion of the powers of the Registrar of Financial Institutions, it equally emphasizes that these powers must always be exercised responsibly, transparently, and within the confines of our laws. Honorable members who appreciate that the authority to intervene in banking institutions before insolvency is both necessary and significant. However, such authority should never be exercised arbitrarily. Your committee therefore underscores the importance of accountability, administrative fairness, and sound governance in implementing the proposed reforms. It is only through transparent regulatory processes that public confidence in our banking sector can be maintained. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, the committee further observed that although the bill empowers the registrar to facilitate mergers, acquisitions, and transfer of assets and liabilities without prior shareholder approval where circumstances demand urgent intervention, it remains imperative that shareholders' legitimate interests are protected. The committee appreciates that financial stability must take precedence during banking crises. Nevertheless, regulatory interventions should always be proportionate, fair, and undertaken in accordance with established legal principles. This delicate balance between financial stability and protection of privilege rights is critical to maintaining investor confidence in Malawi's banking industry. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, your committee also observed that the successful implementation of the proposed reforms will not depend solely upon the enactment of this bill. The committee noted that several of the new mechanisms introduced under this bill, including the bridge banks, asset management companies, and bail-in arrangements, are highly technical in nature and will require detailed subsidiary legislation, operational guidelines, and enhanced institutional capacity within the RBM, and without such implementation frameworks, the intended objectives of the reforms may not be fully realized. It is therefore imperative that the relevant institutions invest in technical capacity building and develop comprehensive implementation procedures immediately after the enactment of this legislation. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, the committee further considered concerns relating to financial inclusion and consumer protection. During its deliberations, concerns were raised regarding the stringent requirements for opening bank accounts, as well as increasing incidences of fraud associated with electronic banking and mobile financial services. Although these matters extend beyond the immediate scope of this bill, your committee considers them to be fundamental to the broader objective of building an inclusive, secure, and resilient financial system. As digital financial services continue to expand, government and the Reserve Bank of Malawi must remain vigilant in strengthening consumer protection while simultaneously promoting wider access to formal banking services across the country. Your committee's recommendations. Mr. Speaker, sir, having carefully considered the evidence presented before it, your committee made the following recommendations. Firstly, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization, working in conjunction with the RBM, should develop comprehensive regulations, operational guidelines, and implementation procedures to facilitate the effective implementation of the new bank resolution mechanisms. Particular attention should be devoted to the operationalization of bridge banks, purchase and assumption transactions, bail-in arrangements, asset management companies, and mandatory recapitalization so as to ensure transparency, consistency, and most importantly, legal certainty throughout the implementation process. Secondly, Deputy Speaker, the committee recommends that the Reserve Bank of Malawi should strengthen its institutional and technical capacity to effectively implement the enhanced supervisory and intervention powers conferred under the proposed amendments. This should include continuous training of regulatory personnel, strengthening supervisory systems, and developing the operational capacity required to respond promptly whenever banking institutions experience financial distress. Thirdly, your committee recommends that the Reserve Bank of Malawi should ensure that adequate safeguards are maintained to protect both the depositors and shareholders whenever the enhanced powers provided under the amended Act are exercised. While safeguarding financial stability remains paramount, the committee believes that shareholders should continue to be treated fairly and transparently, particularly in matters involving mandatory recapitalization, mergers and acquisitions, and other bank resolution measures. Fourthly, Mr. Deputy Speaker, your committee recommends that the Ministry of Finance and the Reserve Bank of Malawi undertake an extensive stakeholder engagement and nationwide public awareness programs to enhance understanding of the new bank resolution framework. Such programs should target banking institutions, investors, shareholders, and the general public so that all stakeholders appreciate the objectives of the reforms and develop confidence in our banking regulatory framework. And finally, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, your committee recommends that the Reserve Bank of Malawi should continue promoting financial inclusion by encouraging banking institutions to simplify access to banking services, while strengthening measures aimed at protecting consumers against fraud associated with electronic and digital financial services. The committee firmly believes that expanding access to safe and secure banking services will complement the objective of the proposed amendments and further enhance public confidence in the country's financial sector. Concluding remarks. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, as I conclude, allow me to reiterate that your committee is fully satisfied that Bill 9 of 2026, the banking amendment, represents a significant milestone in strengthening Malawi's banking regulatory framework. The proposed amendments modernize the legal regime governing bank supervision, early intervention, bank resolution, and liquidation by introducing internationally recognized mechanisms designed to preserve financial stability, protect depositors, and enhance confidence in the banking sector. Your committee is convinced that once enacted and effectively implemented, these reforms will contribute significantly to building a stronger, safer, and more resilient banking system capable of supporting Malawi's long-term economic development. Deputy Speaker, let me also express the Joint Committee's sincere appreciation to the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament for his continued support to parliamentary committees. The committee further extends its gratitude to the Honorable Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization, the Reserve Bank of Malawi, all officials who appeared before the committee, the Office of the Clerk of Parliament, together with a Secretariat for the legal, technical, procedural, and administrative support rendered throughout the committee's deliberations. Their dedication and professionalism greatly contributed to the successful execution of the committee's work. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, with these very few remarks, and being fully satisfied that the proposed amendments will strengthen the legal and institutional framework governing Malawi's banking sector while safeguarding financial stability, protecting depositors, and enhancing public confidence in the financial system, I respectfully urge this Honorable House to adopt the report of the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Legal Affairs and the Budget and to pass Bill number 9 of 2026 the banking amendment. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairperson, for those words. Honour members, let me intervene. Honour member for Lilongwe Likuni, order. Honour member, I will not tolerate this type of behavior when I'm presiding. I would like to give you a last warning. If you continue, I will act on your conduct. Please, behave like a member of parliament, and please present, if you have issues, rise to the dialogue table and present those issues so Malawians can hear you. I therefore rule, honour member. And honour members to my right, that are fighting with this honour member, you will take an early break. I would like to warn the House, it's a serious House this morning, and I'm very serious on this. Lilongwe Likuni, can they whip that side, or anyone in the independent benches, please talk to Lilongwe Likuni before I act. Honour members, chairpersons of committees, we have so many bills today. Can I advise that we stick to the 15 minutes, not the 22 minutes that we have allocated you? And for the seconder, I will be strict on the 5 minutes allocated. May I request the seconder to this report? May I request the seconder to the report? Honour member for Blantyre Site Chiromoni constituency for secondment. Member, are you raising on a point of order, or you want?
Yes, on point of order.
Yeah, please, you have the floor.
There's still no order on the behavior of the honorable member. Speaker, I suggest we must buy some breathalyzers. Some members are coming drunk in this house. You can see from the behavior. You have made a ruling, the honorable member is still making noise. Look at what he's doing. He's challenging you, the chair. You have the power. Can you act? Show us. Thank you, Chair.
Honour members, I will keep my observation on the honour member while I recognize a seconder on the report by the chairperson. Seconder, honour member for Lilongwe, the landlord, Lilongwe City Center constituency. We seem to be having a very calm landlord. We are very happy for you, sir. We used to have a landlord that was known by everyone. Landlord, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Second Deputy Speaker, for the opportunity to second the report of the Joint Committee of the Parliamentary Committees on Legal Affairs and Budget. Indeed, I rise to second the report of the said committees upon consideration and scrutinizing of Bill number 9 of 2026, the Banking Amendment Bill, which has been ably represented by the co-chairperson of the committee, The report before this House is a product of careful scrutiny and extensive deliberations undertaken by a joint committee in consultation with the Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization, as well as the Reserve Bank of Malawi. Mr. Second Deputy Speaker, sir, the chairperson has already explained how the committee carefully examined the proposed amendments with the objective of determining whether they adequately strengthen Malawi's legal framework as far as governing the banking supervision, early intervention, and bank resolution is concerned. The committee was satisfied that the proposed reforms represent an important step towards building a stronger, more resilient, more stable financial sector capable of responding effectively to emerging risks. Mr. Second Deputy Speaker, sir, without repeating what has already been ably presented by the co-chairperson, allow me to highlight a few additional observations which convinced the committees that this bill deserves the support of this honorable House. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, your committee observed that one of the greatest strengths of the bill is its shift from a reactive regulatory framework to a proactive one. Under the current legal framework, intervention only occurs after a banking institution has already faced severe financial distress. The proposed amendments empower the Registrar of Financial Institutions to intervene at an earlier stage, thereby preventing situations from deteriorating into full-scale banking crises. The committee considered this to be a progressive reform that will enhance confidence in the country's financial system while protecting the economy from unnecessary disruptions. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the committee was equally impressed by the deliberate emphasis placed on protecting depositors. Honorable members will appreciate that whenever a bank experiences financial difficulties, it is ordinary citizens and businesses who often bear the greatest uncertainty regarding the safety of their savings. The introduction of mechanisms such as bridge banks, purchase and assumption transactions, and mandatory recapitalization demonstrates government's commitment to safeguarding depositors while ensuring continuity of essential banking services. Your committee firmly believes that these measures will significantly strengthen public confidence in the banking sector. The committee also welcomes the enhanced powers being conferred upon the Registrar of Financial Institutions. It equally wishes to confirm these powers and adds that they must always be exercised in a transparent, objective, and accountable manner. The committee was of the considered view that strong regulatory powers must be accompanied by equally strong principles of good governance, administrative fairness, and accountability if public confidence in the financial system is to be maintained. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the committee further observed that although the bill introduces internationally recognized bank resolution mechanisms, their successful implementation will depend largely upon adequate institutional preparedness. Mechanisms such as bridge banks, asset management companies, and bail-in arrangements require highly specialized technical expertise. The committee therefore believes that continuous capacity building within the Reserve Bank of Malawi, coupled with detailed operational guidelines, will be essential for the effective implementation of these reforms. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, another matter that attracted the committee's attention relates to financial inclusion and consumer protection. As Malawi increasingly embraces digital financial services,
Consider winding up.
Cases of electronic fraud continue to pose challenges to consumers. The committee therefore encourages the Reserve Bank of Malawi and banking institutions to strengthen consumer protection measures while simultaneously promoting wide access to secure banking services. Recommendations. In light of these observations, the committee recommends that the Minister of Finance and the Reserve Bank of Malawi should prioritize the development of comprehensive implementation regulations and operation guidelines immediately after the enactment of the bill to ensure that the newly introduced bank resolutions are implemented consistently, transparently, and in accordance with global standards. The committee further recommends that Reserve Bank of Malawi should consider strengthening its institutional and technical capacity to effectively discharge the expanded supervisory responsibilities provided under the amended Act. Equally important is the need to ensure that depositors remain adequately protected while shareholders are treated fairly whenever regulatory interventions become necessary. The committee recommends that government and Reserve Bank of Malawi should undertake sustained public awareness programs to help banking institutions, investors, shareholders, and members of the general public understand the objectives and practical implications of the new bank resolution framework. Such stakeholder engagement will be essential in promoting confidence and ensuring the smooth implementation of the proposed reforms. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, having carefully considered the evidence presented before the committee and the significance of the proposed amendments, I am fully persuaded that Bill number 9 of 2026, Banking Amendment, will strengthen Malawi's banking regulatory framework, enhance financial stability, safeguard depositors, and contribute to a more resilient financial sector. I therefore urge the honourable members to support both the report of the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Legal Affairs and Budget and pass the bill. With these few remarks, Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to second.
Thank you. I'll recognize one member to debate on the report. Honourable member from Zimba South to debate on the committee's report.
Thank you so much, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, for giving the people of Zimba South to debate and make some 2 to 3 inputs that I wanted to give. Firstly, let me thank the Minister of Finance for bringing this bill and for the comprehensive scrutiny that was done by the Committee for Legal Affairs and also the Committee of Budget. My small 2 to 3 observations are as follows. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, if you look at the Executive Order number 2 for 2026 in March, the President made it clear that all the public places, workplaces have to ensure they have got good sanitation, hygiene, and waste disposals. I wanted to find out if we really, this banking bill, last time I had taken up with the Minister of Health to ensure that our banks are public places. We keep people there, but they don't have sanitation facilities. Why is this bill not having that sanitation to make it mandatory so that at least people cannot be asking but can be seeing that the sanitation facilities are available? Secondly, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, if you look at section 6A, 6B, and 6C, it talks about the fit and proper assessment being a requirement that it should be done as a continuous process. Immediately you introduce such kind of facility to the shareholders, I thought it was proper that specific intervals, specific period, let's say 2 months or 6 months after the bank, after the shareholders have been incorporated, they need to know that at least the Reserve Bank will come and reassess them, whether they're still more fit, their creditworthiness to be the shareholders of the companies. So I thought maybe a time interval will be given to this bill so that that should be incorporated. The final observation that I had is the issue of unclaimed funds. Here we are, Mr. First Deputy Speaker. I worked for a company some time ago, and I was contributing my pension. And it was a private company. And then these unclaimed funds stays there at the specific bank for some time, and then later on we are saying we should expose these private funds that I earned to Government Act, which is the Public Finance Management Act. This is the same observation which my colleague from who represented MCP made also. I don't think can be correct that we should be exposing the money that you have earned privately, you worked it privately, and then later on you're exposing it to the regulations that are followed by the Public Finance Management Act. I thought maybe the Ministry of Finance and the Reserve Bank would clearly look at this and also make the proposals that have been made by Malawi Congress Party. With these few remarks, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, those were my three observations that I've made, but people of Mzimba South support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see leader.
Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that debate on the bill be curtailed in order for the Minister of Finance to wind up. I beg to move.
Leader, the report, we are closing the report. Not necessarily the committee report that was presented, ably seconded, and debated by Mzimba South is the one we are curtailing right now. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much with the guidance, First Deputy Speaker. And therefore, I beg to move that debate on the report be curtailed in order for the chairperson of the committee to wind up. I beg to move.
Members, we have a motion on the floor. The motion is to curtail debate on the report by the Joint Committee of Legal Affairs and Budget for the chairperson to wind up. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Chair, to wind up.
Thank you, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker. Allow me to thank Mzimba South for the observations that he has made. They are very pertinent, and I would want to agree with him that the issue of sanitation in the banking halls need to be looked at seriously. They don't have to be inside the banking halls, but at least people should be given the sanitation facilities, even outside the banking halls. Section 6A, B, C, fit and proper. Let me also say that this issue was discussed at the committee's deliberations, and fit and proper is not a new thing in the banking sector. It already happens even before this bill. And most of the banks are taking the approach which is risk-based. So instead of traditionally having a routine or like quarterly or monthly or biannually, they scan the environment and identify where risk is higher. And most of fit and proper tests are guided by the risk assessment, mostly by the registrar of the financial services. So I would say that others would have more and others might have less, depending on the assessment of the risk exposure. And lastly, on the issue of unclaimed funds, again, this issue was discussed at length. And what I would really say is that the money that is deemed or defined as unclaimed is money that doesn't have an owner. So it could be a private investment, it could be in the public investment, but as long as those monies, insurance or otherwise, or pensions or anything, as long as they do not have an identified owner, then that one is defined as unclaimed. So you will not have unclaimed money when you know who that money belongs to. It is that money which is unclaimed that is now being dealt with using the Public Finance Management Act of 2022, and I know we'll be discussing this a little bit more in the subsequent amendments, but I wanted to just make it clear that this is not money with an identified owner. This is money that has no identified owner. Having said that, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, allow me to beg that the report be now adopted by the House. I beg to move.
Thank you. Honourable members, I therefore put the question that the report of the Joint Committee of Legal Affairs and Budget Committee pertaining to Bill number 9 of 2026, Banking Amendment, be adopted by this House. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it, and the report has been adopted. Honourable members, it is 11:09. When we come back from half a break, I will recognize one contributor on the bill for debate, and then the processes of the bill will continue. It's 11:10. I therefore suspend proceedings for a half a break. The House resumes sitting at 11:40 a.m. House suspended.